Hi, my name is Christina Rivera of Savvy Broadcasting Life Unscripted. I am so grateful to be here with Dina. I am the founder of Savvy Broadcasting as well as Savvy Consulting. I help businesses get their money in. Where's your cash? I help you find it. Today, we're going to have an exciting conversation with Dina. We're going to go deep and talk about a lot of things people have been scared to touch on, topics. I had a show called Heartbeat of the World where we touched about sensitive topics and things that are important to the entire world, not just the US. And today we're going to touch on some of those things, but what we can do about it and what we can do to make our lives better. Hi, Dina.
Hi, Christina, and I'm Dina Marais, and I am just also absolutely ecstatically happy to be here with Christina. And what I do is I'm the founder of the SoulPurpose Business Bliss membership, where I work with coaches and experts and authors, people who create courses, online courses to transform the world, and I help them to get their mindset right, their mindset, energy, vibration, frequency, as well as building their business piece by piece so that they can share the gifts with the world and, as you say, make the cash.
Yeah, make the cash. And you know what it is, Dina? I know you said something important there. You said frequency. Sometimes you can have a desire, a pull, even gifts. But if your frequency, just like on a radio, is in tune just right, if you have this frequency of I'm angry, I'm upset, I don't believe in myself, this doubt, fear, that's tuning into that frequency. You're not going to have the results you desire in your life.
Never, never. And
Hmm.
the big thing there is that we allow the outside world to control our thoughts,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
especially past results. And you know I believe we all go through some kind of trauma, and we all develop these and be conditioned to these universal fears. That's so beautifully described by Greg Braden in his book The Divine Matrix. The universal fears of rejection and not good enough and fear of
Yeah.
losing control, and all of those, those the thinking patterns, that how that manifested, um, they all lower your vibration. And if you are thinking here and your goal, the vision that you have is there, you got to tune into that. It's not going to
Mm.
come down to you.
Yeah.
You're going to go up to that. So, yes, frequency is everything because
Yeah.
we are
And
just energy.
it's so true. And yesterday we spoke about how sometimes things on the outside, crazy circumstances like the past year with the pandemic, it didn't just hit the US, it hit the world. And
Oh,
a lot of people let that affect not only their personal lives, but their business. And they felt like at odds from what was going on outside.
mm.
What are some of your suggestions on how people cannot let outside circumstances affect not only their business, but their very person?
Well, I think it's so important to have a vision, number one, to know what do you want to create, and to absolutely train your brain, control your thoughts. It's a really commitment.
Mm,
It's a decision that you make. I want to create this. I want to create this business, and it's no use going for a small little wimpy goal. Is have
mm,
something big that
yeah.
you want to create. That it's a huge why for you. And we have big whys. We want to take care of our families. So many people have got special circumstances
Mhm.
with kids with special needs, etc., etc., etc. I mean, it's just a multitude of things. But when we have a vision and we have a strong why,
Mm,
then it's to hang on to that
yeah.
and to think all the way why you can and how you can, instead of allowing the doubt. I always call my little self,
Hmm.
little Dina. Don't
Yeah.
let little Dina in. Don't let doubtful Dina in.
Yeah.
Go play somewhere else.
Yeah, it's so interesting. My mentor, he did mostly live events like Tony Robbins. He helps businesses, build their finances, build sales in their business. But he said it was interesting when it first hit. You're first like, whoa, last year with the pandemic lockdown. But he said, how do I serve now? How do I serve people's needs? If people can't leave the house, how do I bring what I have, my great gifts, to people's place or to them so they could be served? And he immediately launched huge, wonderful virtual events, which Oh my gosh. He is now able to serve thousands of people on one call where you can't fit 1,000 people or over 1,000 people unless you have a stadium that you
Mm.
rent out. So now coaches like yourself are able to serve that many more people with the power of things like this platform, Zoom.
Yes, and nothing ever is just good or just bad.
Yeah.
There's always facets to it. But just
Mm,
I remember um, end of 2019,
mhm,
there was so much talk about the energy of the planet is going to be lifted, and it's
mm.
it's really it was meant really universal prosperity for everybody,
Yeah.
and then it was hijacked.
Mhm,
I I felt when COVID
mhm,
struck, I thought, oh my God, this beautiful energies
mm,
that we are all supposed to enjoy now was just being hijacked.
mm.
And
Well, yeah, I just want to say and interject because, we talked about this a little yesterday. I was just stunned because
yes,
people can't do to you what you don't allow them to do. And what I noticed about the world is they just went along with it. They were just like, oh, we're supposed to not work anymore and just sit home and watch Netflix and veg. Oh, okay. And I was just like, what is wrong with everyone? They just stopped and let the energy stop. And that's what kind of drove me nuts. It's like, why is everyone just adhering to it? Why don't they just pivot and say, okay, we can't do this, but we could do what my mentor did and expand in a different way? Why was so many people going like this?
I think it's just this, fear, because
Mhm.
that was orchestrated very well by the media.
Yeah.
uh, Fear is a psychological warfare, and then people believe that they are
Mm.
powerless,
Mm. Yeah.
um, and they can't look past the fear.
Mhm.
uh, Whereas if we were allowed ourselves, and we had the communities and the support of other people, where we
Mhm.
could actually start expanding our consciousness, opening up into possibility. But people will really shut down,
Mm.
and then, by not having such an infrastructure, and start contracting and contracting and contracting, smaller and smaller, it became a comfort zone. It became a
Uh-huh.
comfort zone to just plod along, and I don't want to stick my neck too far out.
Mm.
So let me just go
Yeah.
with the norm, let me just go with the masses. And
Mm.
you know
Mhm.
you are
It's
not
interesting.
fulfilling your meaning and your purpose if you just sort of plod along.
Yeah, you know what? I tell me if you have witnessed this, but I've found fear and negative emotions to be contracting in themselves, and growth and love to be expansive. And someone had said to me a long time ago, I don't remember who it was like, know where you're at if you're in fear or love or expansion. If you feel open, if you start to feel like this, then you can know that you're totally in fear right now, that you're not in an expansive mode.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
it's actually, I always tell my clients, the first step towards change is awareness.
Mm.
If we are
Yeah.
not aware, if we are not really aware of what's going on in our body, because for me the body is the expression of the subconscious. The mind and body is one system, and
Mm.
your vibration uh, is evident in your body. That's what we're
Mm.
broadcasting. That tells us what we're thinking. And I always call it the supply chain of the mind. You
Interesting.
think,
Yeah.
you feel, that puts you in a state, and you act. And then
Hmm.
there's a result. If you want
Mm.
to change the result, you can't change the result. You have to change the way that you think,
Yes.
so that you can feel different, so that you can take a different action, so that you can have a different result. And it's for people just to realize that, to understand that
Yeah.
that they are not their thoughts, and they are not their emotions. They have thoughts and they have emotions, and that actually helps them a lot to sort of take charge of,
Yes.
I can decide what I want to think.
Mm. Yeah, I love this, Dina, because my husband deals with severe arthritis throughout his whole body. And he will often say to me, "Oh, I can't do this. My body is stopping me," or something like that. Say, "I am this
Mm,
arthritis." I said, "No, no, no. That is your body. Anything you physically see here is your body. You're in this container." And, some people have a harder time. Their bodies give them hassle and difficulty and sickness. But I said, your essence, your being is amazing, and don't let this, because he's done amazing work, my husband, both as a pilot and an artist, and some people just can't believe he deals with the pain that he does with the arthritis. But that's why I love when you can look past that and see that you aren't just your thoughts. They're,
mm.
running through your head. You're not just your body. You're in this physical container, but that is not the essence of your true being, your soul.
Absolutely. Once we realize that, and also, the whole thing about our past and past results and how
Mm.
we grew up, and we all make mistakes. We all have a history. We all have a past. But you know what? You are not that. You are more than that. And
Absolutely.
if we can stop um, measuring our worth in terms of what we do and what we have,
Mhm.
or not doing or not having, and other people's opinions, then that's a first step to start taking charge of your thoughts and your emotions, and not let the external world start, control that.
Yeah. And absolutely, what's interesting right now is a call to the world for all coaches who do what you do. Because what it is now is, you had mentioned how important it is for people to connect with like minds. And if they don't have that tribe right now, if the people around them, the friends, the family, the coworkers, are all in this kind of constricting, negative, oh my God, life sucks. You really have to find people that can be of a higher vibration, as we talked about earlier on, and coaches now can be that person or build that tribe.
Absolutely, because I mean, our environment impacts on us, and if we are in an environment that is really contracting and constricting, you can't help but it impacts on your energy.
Mm.
But even so, if you are part of something where you get lifted up, where you can become aware of how you can take charge and how you can lean on other people and be supported,
Yeah.
that helps you and that changes your energy. And that, of
Yeah.
course, affects the environment again.
Yeah.
So it's so crucial to not be by yourself.
Oh my God.
Um,
Yeah.
in this time is really so important to find your tribe, a place where you can feed your soul, where you
Yes.
can nourish that higher vibrations
Mm-hmm.
and let them become part of you and integrate, so that
Mm-hmm.
when you do step out of it, you have much more resilience against the outside world, um, to to control you. You have
Yeah.
definitely much more resilience.
That's a good point, Dina, because one thing, and I'm going to ask for your advice on this. I think some people will listen in and say, hey, but everyone around me, my now personal friends, family, society around me, seems a bit constricted. And when you start coming out, and this is what I notice about myself, when I start to move out and expand and grow, people start to say, hey, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? And I wasn't even making a lot of money when I first started my business, but people were like, well, who do you think you are? You think you're special? And I'm like, no, I just think I'm doing something I love. What is your advice to people struggling, breaking through, and then trying to pull them back? How do they deal with that?
if your dream is if your dream is soft still, and it's like a little bun in the oven,
Hmm.
don't share it with people who's not going to appreciate it, because they're just going to talk you out of it. They're going to tell you that, "Oh, you know what, especially family, you know what, that has been done. If somebody hasn't thought about that already, then know that it is definitely not a good idea. Or you're going to do the same as that master coach. Are you crazy? Who's going to listen to you?" All those kind of things. And you know what? None of it is true,
Hmm.
because we are all absolutely unique. We are, even no two coaches do exactly the same thing. Doesn't matter if they're in the same sort of niche, they have the same wisdom, their own wisdom, their unique way of doing things. But what is important is that if you have that calling inside you, is to nourish it, to nurture it like a little seed, and to
Mm.
grow it and to expand, really create a vision around that and feel that vision. And you know what's really beautiful for me, Christina,
Mm.
is that if you put a little seed in the ground and you nurture it, it grows. Okay? It's the same way with your dreams. If you imagine it, your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not, what's
Mhm.
imagined. But if you can hang on to that dream, to that vision, and feel it, know that that your desires are divinely inspired. Number one, you wouldn't have thought of something if it wasn't for you to manifest. And the next thing is to nurture it and to just to stay in that vibration, and the rest will happen. But what
Mm.
we do is we can't keep our grubby little hands off it. You know, we dig
Yeah.
up that thing and say, aren't you here yet? Where are you? Supposed to be
Impatient.
growing right now already. And in that way, by looking all the time, it's not there yet, it's not there yet, we just
Mm.
resist it all the time. So it's
Well,
a wonder, let
to
go.
me, doesn't that kind of say you don't have faith in it when you keep poking it? Why aren't you here yet? Why aren't you? When actuality, it is here. It's just not. You're not. It's not brought to full bloom where you can see it and experience it yet, but it's in you. So you
Yes,
have to
it's in
allow
you.
that to expand and to come to full bloom. It's like that flower in the ground exists. It's you're not seeing it yet. It hasn't bloomed, but it exists.
It's there, and it's just for us to align with it. That's where the frequency comes in,
Yeah.
is to think on the same frequency, to feel on the same frequency as the vision that you would like to manifest.
Mm.
If you think all the time about doubt and about how it's not happening, it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
You got to trust it. You're going to I always say, we think that we can take care of the how. You
Mhm.
know what? Frankly, it's above our pay grade. As
Mhm.
a creator, co-creator with Source, creating the world, because that's how we create. That's our powers to create. It's how we think and feel
Mhm.
and speak and act. That's our
Mhm.
powers of creation. And if we are dabbling in the how, we are actually above our pay grade. It's not for us. You know, that is the playing field of the universe, of infinite
Mhm.
possibilities. We
Mhm.
don't have all the connections. We don't have know everybody. I mean, how many times have you had a client out of the blue that you've
Yeah.
never even met this
Mm.
person, and they just show up?
Yeah.
So it's actually to expect the
Mm.
universe to bring it to you in a way that you're not going to expect it.
Yeah, I love that. And my mentor always says, money, clients, all that stuff comes from source or God, in
Mm,
my perspective, through people. And people get confused that that job comes from a person or that money comes from a person. It does not. Everything comes through God.
everything.
And with that understood, when you say, when you know that things will be taken care of, I've had so many times where in my early 20s, someone skipped out. I had an apartment. My roommate skipped out the day before rent. And I was on the couch crying, going, God, what am I going to do? And I was just, feeling sorry for myself. Would you believe the phone rings and a friend of a friend I've never met said, I hear you're looking for a roommate. I never told anyone I was looking for a roommate. And she said, I'm like, I am. And then she came that later afternoon. She gave me money in cash. I paid the rent the next day. So, but miracles happen like that all the time
All
when
the
you
time.
trust.
When we
And
trust,
and
yes.
yeah, yeah.
That is so important. And if we then look at what's happening around us now,
Mm,
is to also trust that in the end it's going to work out. In the end,
mm,
it's going to be fine. But we have to stay high with our own vibrations. We have to expand, have a vision, no matter what the outside world is telling us, no matter how many deaths there are, and how many cases, and how many this and how many this is going to shut down, and you're not going to be able to do this. That's all propaganda. That is
mm,
allowing the outside world to
mm,
control us. We need to be beyond that. If you are a
mm.
coach, or you have a skill, you have something that you can share with the world, don't think now it's too late. now is exactly the time to do that. Now is
Now is the only
exactly,
time, and until
yes,
the day you
now
leave
is
this
the only
planet.
time. Exactly. There's no better time than now. Absolutely.
Absolutely. This has been such a fascinating talk. We could go on for hours like we did yesterday, but I don't want to leave here without letting everyone know how they can find out more about you, Dina, and then I'll share a little bit about Savvy.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I think the best way is, I think we'll put all the links below the videos as well. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, email is easy, Dina@dinamarais.com. And for coaches and course creators, I have um, a freebie or a lead magnet. It's a
Mhm.
consistent 10K month and beyond coaching business framework
Mhm.
where I share with you everything about your mindset
Mm.
and what is the heart of your business that I believe is
Mhm.
your energy, your niche, and your offer. When you get that right, everything else falls into place because
Mm.
then you can build everything around that. And that you can get at bit.ly/, 10K framework. Very easy to remember. And the last thing is, if you're ready to dive in boots and all, and you really want to get your business done and so on, I've got the Soul Purpose Business Bliss membership, where I coach you, and you have a full curriculum of everything that you need to create your business from scratch to
Mm.
launch. And that is my pride, of all the stuff that I've learned, and my previous life coming from IT, and then
Mm.
putting all those systems in place to make it
Yeah.
easy for coaches, because we are great in our expression, but we're not great in the tech side and the thinking side and
Mm.
all of that. And that I would love to make that easy for coaches.
Yeah. So
And
you can do your zone of genius, spend more time where your gift is.
exactly. And be
Mm.
guided. I guide you all along step by step. You don't have to go and search for the shiny object syndrome. Where's the next guru that's going to give me the red pill? We, everything is just going to happen. No, I hold your hand all the way through.
Yeah.
And that you can go and look at bit.ly/business bliss membership.
Okay. Well, I will put that beneath the video as well. So if anyone didn't catch that, just click down below and get it. And I'm so grateful, Dina, for talking with you today, bringing these topics that are on everyone's heart, and they want to have a better life, and they can.
They
And
can.
they just have to let the veil of, or lift the veil of fear, and expand their fully heart and their gifts and bring them into the world. And that is my gift, everyone. On Savvy Broadcasting, we have a free gift if you join our list, and it's called Lifting the Veil of Fear. It is the fourth chapter of my book, which oddly enough was a book I wrote 11 years ago about where I was in corporate America living in fear. Almost every part of my life was in fear. And it started with a conversation from a good friend of mine that said, "Why are you always so scared?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Every time I talk to you, I'm scared, I'm fearful, I'm nervous, la la la." Everything in my vocabulary was about being in fear. And he was the one that got me to wake up and be like, "What am I doing?" And so that's where the impetus of this book eventually turned into a blog and then a book. And now I'd like to pass on that gift to you guys. What do you call it? Uncover or unveil the fear that you might have in your life and live your full potential. And I just have to thank you again, Dina. Everyone go to savvybroadcasting.com. And Dina, what's your website again? Just your main website again?
Dinamarais.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. It's been awesome chatting with you today.
Thank you, Christina. It's been wonderful, really. And I think there are so many people is going to benefit by this conversation. And I mean, getting help from any angle that they would love to. That's awesome.
Awesome. Take care.